Namaskar and good evening. Welcome to this weekly briefing in the virtual format, and apologies for the delay in starting. I will begin with a short update on the Vande Bharat mission and then we'll move on to your questions. On the Vande Bharat mission, you would know that the phase 9 of this mission has been operational since the 1st of January 2021. And as on date, more than 1,300 international flights have been operated from 27 countries. These flights have facilitated an estimated 253,000 people to return, which brings the total number of people who have been facilitated under different modes of this mission till date to 51 lakhs. Now we'll move to your questions. Yatin, could you please take over?
So first set of question is on vaccine cooperation. Vishnu Som from NDTV has asked, how many partner nations have we supplied vaccine to in total, and have all of this been grants? Have some of these nations bought vaccines? Siddhant from Vion is asking, when is Afghanistan expected to get India's COVID vaccines, and when it comes to Africa, how many countries we helping? Madhurendra from News Nation is asking, भारतीय वैक्सीन की खेप अब तक कितने देशों में जा चुकी है और कितने देशों से डिमांड है? Elizabeth from Mint has a question. Of all the consignments of vaccines that have gone out, how much of them were vaccines manufactured by Serum Institute, and how much of these vaccines were manufactured by Bharat Biotech? Similar questions from Pankaj Yadav, Shankar from India vs Disinformation, and Sandhya from ET.
As I had mentioned last time, there is interest in many countries to access vaccines from India. And in line with PM's announcement that India sees international cooperation in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic as its duty, we have played the role of the first responder in the region, in our neighborhood, as well as we've reached out to countries beyond. Now you have very specific questions on numbers, and let me come to that. From 20th January 2021 onwards, we have gifted over 55 lakh doses of vaccines to our neighboring countries and in our extended neighborhood. And this includes 1.5 lakh doses to Bhutan, 1 lakh to Maldives, 10 lakh to Nepal, 20 lakhs to Bangladesh, 15 lakhs to Myanmar, 1 lakh to Mauritius, 50,000 to Seychelles, 5 lakhs to Sri Lanka, and 1 lakh to Bahrain. And these supplies are based on requests from these countries. Over the next few days, we plan to gift further quantities to Oman, that is of 1 lakh doses, 5 lakh doses to CARICOM countries, 2 lakh to Nicaragua, and 2 lakh doses to Pacific Island states. Let me also touch upon commercial exports. As you would know, they have already taken place to Brazil, to Morocco, and to Bangladesh. Further supplies on a commercial basis are likely to take place to Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Canada, Mongolia, and other countries. Further, we are going to supply 1 crore, that is 10 million doses, to Africa, and 10 lakh, that is 1 million doses, to UN health workers under Gavi's COVAX facility. So as you can see, we have an extensive ongoing program for vaccine supply, and we will continue to supply vaccines to partner countries over the coming weeks and months in a phased manner. Decisions on these supplies will of course be calibrated as per the requirements of the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine at home. Particularly to the question from Elizabeth, as I had mentioned last time, our external supplies, whether as gifts or on commercial basis, they are based on domestic availability, they are based on licensing issues and regulatory approvals in the countries concerned. Sandhya, to your question, I must say that I'm not aware of anything that you mentioned.
Deepak Ranjan from PTI Bhasha is asking, अमेरिका के नए प्रशासन के साथ संबंधों को लेकर क्या पहल हो रही है? Devdeep from Shanghai Sinbun has asked, can you give us an update about communication with various officials of the new Biden administration? Is there any planned interaction to take place in recent future at any level? Ranjit Kumar from Rakshat News is asking, can you release some details of the conversation between NSO of India and USA?
See, as regards the contacts with the new administration, as I had mentioned last time, as the new administration takes shape, we continue to remain engaged at all levels to work together to further strengthen our comprehensive global strategic partnership with the US. You would recall that PM had congratulated then President-elect Biden on his election on the 8th of November, and they had a telephone call on the 17th of November where both leaders exchanged views on working together on shared priorities and global challenges. EM has already congratulated his counterpart, Mr. Anthony Blinken, on his appointment as Secretary of State. The introductory phone call between the two will be scheduled soon at a mutually convenient time. It will be an important opportunity to discuss the bilateral as well as regional and global issues of mutual interest. As you would have seen the press release, RM had a introductory phone call with the new Secretary of Defense, Mr. Lloyd Austin, yesterday. They reiterated the commitment to deepen ongoing defense cooperation between the two countries. NSA also spoke to his counterpart, Mr. Jake Sullivan, yesterday and conveyed his good wishes on his appointment. So we'll keep you informed as other such interactions take place.
Siddhant from WION is asking, how does India sees Biden administration joining Paris Accord and doing away with H4 work permits?
See, as you would recall during the telephone call between Prime Minister and President Biden on 17th of November, the leaders had discussed their priorities, which included tackling climate change. So we look forward to working with the US administration on this issue. And I think I'll go back to the question from Ranjit. He wanted some details on the telephone call between the two NSAs. Ranjit ji, as you would have seen the press release, the two NSAs agreed to work closely to further advance India-US relations, which are built on shared values and common strategic and security interests. And our NSA underscored that India and US were uniquely positioned to work closely on regional and international issues, including issues like terrorism, maritime security, cyber security, and peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific and beyond.
Maha from CNN News 18 is asking, has any phone call been fixed between Prime Minister Modi and new US President Joe Biden?
Maha, I think I responded to that earlier, where I had said that PM's telephonic conversations with world leaders, after such conversations, we normally make a media announcement, so you will get to know.
Next set of question is on seafarers stranded in Chinese waters. Siddhant from WION is asking, any update on Indian sailors stranded on MV Anastasia? Shrinjoy from Times Now is asking, any measures to help the Indian sailors on MV Anastasia?
On this, as I had conveyed last week, with regard to MV Anastasia, which has 16 Indian crew and it is at anchorage at the Caophidian port in China, our embassy in Beijing has been in touch with the Chinese side, both at the central level as well as at the level of the provincial government. And through this contact, they're trying to facilitate crew change at the earliest. Our embassy continues to follow up with both the shipping company as well as with Chinese authorities to ensure the well-being of the Indian crew.
Next set of question is on line of actual control. Madhurendra from News Nation is asking, चीन के साथ जारी तनाव के बीच 9वीं दौर की वार्ता से भी कोई नतीजा नहीं निकला, क्या डिप्लोमेटिक लेवल पर आगे कोई और एंगेजमेंट प्लान है? Shrinjoy from Times Now is asking, has there been any changes on the ground in Ladakh after the commanders meeting? Deepak Ranjan from PTI Bhasha is asking, लद्दाख गतिरोध के मुद्दे पर सैन्य स्तर की ताज़ा बातचीत के बाद क्या स्थिति उभरी है?
मधुरेंद्र जी, आपने देखा होगा कि एक संयुक्त प्रेस विज्ञप्ति जारी की गई, ये जब 9वें सैन्य कमांडर स्तर की बातचीत हुई थी, उस बैठक के बाद ये विज्ञप्ति आपने देखी होगी। और आप इस विज्ञप्ति में देखें, साफ तौर पे कहा गया है कि बातचीत का क्या नतीजा निकला, उससे क्या स्थिति उभरी है। और जहाँ तक आगे की बातचीत का सवाल है, आपने ये भी देखा होगा कि इसमें कहा गया है कि दोनों पक्षों में ने अपने अपने देश के नेताओं कि महत्वपूर्ण सर्वसम्मति का पालन करने, बातचीत और समझौता वार्ता की गति को अच्छा बनाए रखने और संयुक्त रूप से तनाव कम करने की प्रक्रिया को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए शीघ्र ही कोर कमांडर स्तर की बैठक 10वें दौर का आयोजन करने के लिए सहमत हुए हैं दोनों पक्ष.
Siddhan from WION has question. Is India sending extradition request on Khalistanis such as Pannu of the outlawed seek for justice? Madhurendra from News Nation has asked, फॉरेन ज़मीन पर जारी खालिस्तान आंदोलन पर MEA का क्या कहना है, क्योंकि लगातार भारतीय दूतावासों को टारगेट किया जा रहा है. मधुरेंद्र हैज़ अनदर क्वेश्चन. दिल्ली में किसान आंदोलन को भड़काने के लिए सैकड़ों पाकिस्तानी हैंडल एक्टिव दिखे, वही खालिस्तान के नाम पर पाकिस्तान की फंडिंग हर स्तर पर जारी है. क्या विदेश मंत्रालय के पास कोई अपडेट है?
As I had stated last week, as regards anti-India activities of certain elements abroad, which actually represent a very small fringe of the Indian community, we are closely engaged with the relevant foreign governments to apprise them of the threats posed, to convey our concerns, as well as to seek their interventions. And as you would know, the safety and security of Indian diplomatic premises and personnel is the responsibility of the host government, and whenever such protests happen or they are planned, we inform them and we ask them to take necessary action to safeguard our premises and our personnel.
Resolve from Hindustan Times has asked, Pakistan Supreme Court today ordered the release of terrorist Omar Said Sheikh, who was freed by India after IC 814 hijacking. There is no information whether an arrest warrant for Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar has been executed by Pakistani authorities. Your reactions on these developments? Devdeep from Sankei Shimbun has asked, Pakistan Supreme Court has acquitted the main conspirator of journalist Daniel Pearl's abduction and murder. Do you have a reaction? Similar question from Aditya from CNN News 18.
I had mentioned earlier about the very low conviction rate in Pakistan when it comes to sentencing of terror accused, and this case truly demonstrates the lack of any seriousness on the part of Pakistan on taking action on terror-related issues. It is also a travesty of justice not to find Omar Said guilty of any charges in this heinous act of terror. Our position on Pakistan taking sustained, verifiable, credible and irreversible action against terrorism and terrorist funding emanating from all territory under its control remains unchanged.
Gautam Lahiri has question. Can you share the outcome of India-Bangladesh consular meeting which was held in Delhi? Bangladesh Foreign Secretary has come for FOC meeting. What are the agenda of the meeting? Kallol from The Hindu has asked, can you please share what are the various issues that will be taken up during the discussion with Bangladesh Foreign Secretary Masood bin Momen? Will it take up upcoming visit by PM Modi to Dhaka?
Well, Gautam, first to respond to your question, this was the second India-Bangladesh consular dialogue. It took place today morning, and there were fruitful discussions on the entire range of consular issues. We are going to have the next round of the Foreign Office consultations tomorrow, that is the 29th of January. Our side will be led by Foreign Secretary, and the Bangladesh side will be led by Ambassador Masood bin Momen, the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh. The FOC mechanism, as you know, allows for comprehensive discussion in all areas, and the areas of discussion will include cooperation in the wake of COVID-19, border management and security, trade and investment, connectivity, energy, water resources, development partnership, and regional and multilateral issues. So these will be the areas for discussion. Both sides will also discuss joint activities to be held throughout the year as the two countries celebrate 50 years of our diplomatic ties. And of course, yes, preparations for the upcoming visit of PM to Bangladesh will also be discussed.
Aminul Islam from BSS is asking, we all know that air travel bubble agreement between India and Bangladesh is going to be expired soon, and the MEA has sent a letter to Bangladesh authority last month for extension of the agreement till April 22. Do you have any update to renew the agreement?
On this, my understanding is that both sides are in discussion to renew this arrangement.
Suhasini from The Hindu is asking, UK-based Ken Energy has written to HCI London, EM, PMO and Finance Ministry threatening to enforce the award from The Hague by seizing Indian assets in several jurisdictions. Is the government in talks with Ken on this issue and are any countermeasures being taken?
Suhasini, this is a matter which is dealt with by the Department of Revenue, so I would like you to check with them.
Maha from CNN News 18 has asked, has MEA received any request to impound passports of those mentioned in the FIRs of 26 January violence case?
Maha, I am not aware of information about the specific request that you refer to, but I'll need to check on this. But you would know that all such requests are processed in accordance with existing rules and laws, and this would be under the framework of the Passport Act.
Sandeep from the Tribune is asking, is there any plan to discuss with China the External Affairs Minister's 3 mutuals and 8 propositions mentioned in his speech put up on MEA website?
Sandeep, I think you are referring to the keynote address delivered by EM today morning at the 13th All India Conference of China Studies, and I would not like to qualify what EM said or add to it in any way.
Srinjoy from Times Now has asked, Pakistan Foreign Ministry said that India must cooperate with Pakistani courts in the review and reconsideration case of its serving naval spy commander Kulbhushan Jadhav, and added that they have offered a third consular access to India. So have we asked for consular access?
Srinjoy, you know our position on this issue very well. Government of Pakistan has failed to create an environment under which the allegations against Sri Jadhav can be seriously and effectively challenged. They need to implement the ICJ judgment in letter and spirit, and this includes provision of all relevant documents as well as providing unconditional, unhindered and unimpeded consular access to Sri Jadhav.
Aditya from CNN News 18 has asked, US has put the Taliban-US-Afghan peace agreement under review even though Zalmay Khalilzad continues as special envoy. Where does India stand on the Afghan peace deal?
Aditya, you know our position on this. We stand for a peaceful, prosperous and progressive Afghanistan. We support all efforts that are aimed towards a stable and secure Afghanistan that preserve the gains of the last 2 decades, and lead the country on the path of development, benefiting all sections of people, including its women and minorities.
I have no further questions, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Yatin. So this concludes the weekly press briefing.